Good day, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm super excited about this YouTube Live for many reasons. The number one reason is I've been wanting to do this YouTube Live for months now, but I didn't have the time to put the effort because I really wanted it to be worthwhile watching and be something people can get inspired by. Not to oversay things a lot of people have already said, I think 2020 has changed our lives and affected us in many ways. It did, for myself, it did affect my photography because I used to be on the road all the time and I used to be out there and take photos, street photography every day. And now I can't. I have to schedule it and it's not possible to do that every day. So I found myself sort of getting uninspired, and that's really the reason why. That's really why I came up with this idea of this blog. Probably selfishly, I felt I needed to come down and think about my process, my photo process, and I think it's threefold. I think we get uninspired because we don't know why we shoot anymore. The second reason I think we get uninspired is because we overanalyze, and I'm very guilty of that. And the third reason is boredom. So I came up with three things that I think can actually change the way you look at photography and challenge you and you know, have you inspired again. I hope it does, because it sort of does for me. Got to get used to these transitions. So yeah, so I came up with photo projects, experimenting and consuming art with mindfulness. And I have notes because I don't want to forget anything. So the number one is photo challenges or photo projects. In my case, I hate to shoot aimlessly. I need a reason. That's the biggest reason why I get uninspired is I don't know why I'm shooting. I don't know what for. And street photography is one of those examples. I really fell in love with street photography and I get inspired all the time and I know why I'm shooting. So photo projects really take care of that in a few ways. The number one photo project that I've embraced recently, really embraced, is documenting my life. If I'm being honest, I've been on and off about it, in the sense that, sorry, too many buttons at the same time. Yeah, so I've been on and off about it, never really committed about it until the pandemic hit. Because if I want to shoot daily, that's probably the only thing left that I can do daily and still take photos and still improve my photography game. It can have a broader meaning too. It doesn't have to be all about photos. It can be videos, it can be mementos, it can be a lot of things, but and that's where you can start overanalyzing, and that's probably why I stopped so many times. There's actually two great videos on the subject, many more, but two that really inspired me. One from Matt Day and one from Danny Javerts. I'll probably link the links there. So anyways, For this lifelong project, I've adopted the Lomography 10 rules, or 10 golden rules, meaning that I just go about shooting. I carry my camera with me, my film camera, as much as possible with me, and I just shoot. I don't think, I just shoot with whatever I have on me, freely and not unobtrusively, photos and videos. And sometimes it's just going to be it's just going to be iPhones. So that's my documenting my life. One thing that I really like is you can, this is endless. I mean, you can set an alarm and take shots at different intervals. You can you can take selfies, you can have an outfit of the day, socks of the day, shoes of the day, whatever of the day. You can take the sky. So you literally have so many things to photograph when you let loose, when you forget about the constraints of having a nice photo. You can have special events and so on. But I think what I like the most about documenting my life, now that I've started doing it, not religiously, because I don't do religiously, but I try to take photos of my life every single day. Sometimes it's every other day. It's just that, when you photograph the mundane stuff, you can experiment more, and then by experimenting more, you get better. So that's that. Another one that I've, if we're still in photo projects, is the photo projects per se. So another one that I've embraced last year is, I don't know if that's a thing, but I came up with the idea of one roll a week. So it's probably out there on the internet, because if I thought about it, probably someone else thought about it. And that's one photo project for me. So I don't do it every week, but sometimes I go about, okay, this week I'm going to take a roll and I'm going to go through it. And that allows me to also segment it in other topics that I'll talk about in a minute. So one roll is typically 35, 36 frames. So I shoot 5 frames a day, which comes up to 35 frames a week. And here goes my project. That's fun, that's quick, and you can divide it by selfies, portraits, landscape. So 5 landscape, 5 portraits, 5 selfies, and so on. And you finish your roll after a week. So that's a lot of fun. There's also Project 365 that I like a lot. Even though it's longer pace, and you have to commit for a year and stuff like that. But by the way, there are a lot more ideas on my website, montrealvlog.com. There's a full list of things that I came up with. So to shorten the YouTube live, I might skip a few, but if you want the full list and get inspired, just go on my website. You'll find a lot more. For example, photo projects can be 30 strangers. So you go about and you set yourself to photograph, or 35 to go through a roll if you're a film photographer. So that's photo projects. Now, another one I like a lot is themes or topics. So themes or topics. Yeah, sorry. They're easy, and it takes the guesswork out of photography. So it takes care of the 3 problems I've outlined at the beginning of my video. It takes care of why, because you know why you're gonna go shoot, what you're gonna go shoot. It takes care of overanalyzing, because whatever you set your mind to shoot, you go about it. And boredom, because you can With a few topics, you can just switch between whenever you get bored of one topic, you jump on the other one and it takes care of boredom. One project that I really embraced, and that's going to be my next point, finding your direction, is street photography. You know, it comes down to documenting your life a little bit, but it's documenting other people's lives randomly in the streets of wherever you live, and I really enjoy that. So that's one theme that I go about, and I just schedule it now. Not so often, but I schedule it. Could be a to schedule a one-day photo shoot with you just go hire a model, or ask your friends if you're not comfortable yet to hire a model, rent a studio. Could be a one-day or a few-day trip adventure that you document. So those are themes. You can go just set yourself, okay, this week I'm going to go take landscape photography, or whatever technical challenges you want to take, double exposures, silhouettes. Again, there's a full list on my website. Just go on my website, cityscapes, panoramas. So just pick a theme, and that's just gonna help you get out of that rut and stop overanalyzing and just focus. One other thing that I've come up with, and that might be a bigger one in the photo project, is long-term projects or finding direction. I came across a really good video about this by Sean Tucker. He featured Rachel Talabert, and it's a really good video if you want to watch about finding direction. I'll link the video in my description. There shouldn't be any pressure about finding direction. I think if you go through the list of the other ideas that I shared with you, at some point something is gonna stick. For me, it's street photography. I just love landscape too. Is very close. Even though, like street photography, if I just explain it why, and maybe that's going to help you find your own direction. I just enjoy the slow pace of being an observer and standing there in the streets, and everybody's so busy, and you just observe and you capture that moment. You're alone whilst surrounded by people. So that's what I like, and you get this adrenaline because you never know how if people are going to notice you. Sometimes you might feel like a spy or something, and people are usually very nice about it. Never had any problems, because the intention is always the number one thing when you take photographs. So there's no pressure about finding direction, but I think if you push through, you're going to find your own, if I haven't already. Now, if we switch categories, I would say experiment. And I've already touched a little bit on that. If you experiment, you're going to push your creative boundaries. And I think it's only by experimenting that you really become a better photographer, and you're going to see it. Like if you look at your photos back way when you started, and even maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, you'll see that you've pushed, and where you've pushed, you became better. One way I like to push is by setting myself with creative limits. So that can be combined with your topics, your themes, or your challenges. For example, and that takes care of the boredom. by the way. So if I ever get bored of street photography, which rarely happens, but sometimes I just don't find my angle, I'm gonna set myself with one lens. So I'm just gonna leave home and just set myself with one lens. It takes care of over analyzing everything too. So creative limits are really really good. Could be no flash in a low light situation, could be no tripods if you're a landscape photographer. I've done a photo drive. My last YouTube live was a photo drive. So my creative limit was to actually not get out of the car and just take pictures of whatever I was seeing from the car, and so on. So creative limits can be combined, and they're really good to take care of the rut. Now, if you're a film photographer, another one is to self-develop. That's one I've picked. I've actually picked on self-developing last year because of COVID. Knowing that I was going to be confined, I just went to a photo store and bought myself the whole kit just to be able to continue my passion. And you know what? This is truly, truly endless, because if you think about it, self-developing, you can push, you can pull. Depending on the film stock you get different results, and you're gonna learn the types of color palettes you get from pulling and pushing and whatnot. And that's like endless, because for example, I like Portra a lot, and I know that if I push it one stop, I get saturated colors, but they shift a little more on the brownish side. So that's something I found by pushing Portra, and it makes for so like the color palette in the fall is great for that. Sometimes you push two stops and you get a different vibe. So this is endless. And again, I have yet to do this, but it could be a chemical soup. So if you combine that with documenting your life, then it's endless, because you can document your life, and you can say, okay, today I'm going to do a day in my life. So I'm going to go through a roll, and that roll is specifically going to be a tryout, an experiment in a chemical soup. So then again, you get more creative, inspired, and so on. And sometimes it's just a spark, you know, if you've been in a rut for a while, just that little spark can get you back on track. In the experiment section, there's also another one that I like. It's very close to self-developing and creative limits. It's creative experiments. So experimenting, if you read about lomography a little bit, you're gonna get that feel. Like, stop trying to make that perfect picture with sharpness and all. Just shoot. Don't think. Could be a flash burn, could be light leaks, colored flash, blurry pictures. I mean, sometimes it's going to be happy accidents because you didn't intend to do those things, but they came across, and that's a cool photo. So that's creative experiments. Now, the last one, not the least, is consume art with mindfulness, or mindfully. So I'm just gonna switch places again. Hold on, getting mixed up with my switches. I'm gonna move that back to my other place because I want to show you something. So what I mean by consume art mindfully is really what it is. So we are flooded with visual and photos on a daily basis. And what I mean by consuming art mindfully is really about taking a book. So I was lucky enough to have some Christmas gifts, National Geographic, which is more like a perfect setup. So you get, you get nice, perfect pictures. But what I like about National Geographic is I purposefully look at the layout, how they laid out the pages, because eventually I want to get into photo books. So I take my time and I go through the pages, not necessarily to read. Sometimes I read them because they're fun, but I take my time to look at the layout, or just pictures. And I'm going to do another YouTube live about this maybe later. But I take this inspiration and I put it down. I write it down in a book. I have a notebook and I write down why I like those things. Just the action of intent, just going through the pages, looking at the layout, analyzing why you like what you like, is really important, because we get flooded by photos and they're nice, and we consume it blindly. We consume it in a way that, okay, it's fun. It's like a chip bag. You eat your chips, but have you really eaten? So if I compare, there's there's fast food and slow food, and I'm really starting to enjoy slow art. There's fast art, but there's slow art too. And that's probably why I enjoy film photography so much, because it slows you down. There's intent when you shoot film. So guys, that's a wrap for me. I hope I forgot to put it back to wide angle. So I hope you liked this YouTube live. I hope it inspires you to do new stuff, and I hope my lists on my website are going to help you. My list is going to help you get inspired in some ways. So if you like this, please share the love, share the video, comment. I'd like to have some comments, and until next time, guys, have a great one.